The Arctic is dying. Not slowly, not quietly, but right now, beneath a sun that should not be this warm. And somewhere on the fractured ice of Svalbard, a mother stands over something she cannot accept. This is not a story about survival. It is a story about love and what remains when it has nowhere left to go. Svalbard, 78 degrees north, a place that exists at the very boundary of the livable world. The sea ice that once locked this ocean in silence for 8 months of the year is retreating. The frozen kingdom is shrinking. For the polar bear, Ursus maritimus, the sea bear, this ice is not landscape, it is home, it is hunting ground, it is life itself. There are fewer than 26,000 polar bears left on Earth, and with every degree the planet warms, their world becomes smaller. But today, we follow one bear, one mother, and a story that will remind you what love costs in any world. Her name, in the language of science, is nothing more than a GPS tag. But in the language of this land, she is everything. She has survived 3 Arctic winters alone. Her body carries the maps of those years, scars on her muzzle, ribs visible beneath her coat. This year, she emerged from her den in March with 2 cubs, 2 small, perfect lives she had sheltered through the darkest winter. Field researchers recorded them as alpha and beta, but to her, they were everything she had. For the first weeks, the world was soft. The den was gone, but the mother was their den. She taught them everything. How to walk on broken ice, how to watch the horizon for danger, and how to conserve warmth against the cold. But one thing she could not teach them. She could not teach them that the ice was disappearing faster than any cub could learn to survive. The hunting season was short, the seals scarce, and the distance between one ice floe and the next was growing. By June, the ice had fractured. To reach the next hunting ground, she would have to swim, and her cubs would have to follow. Polar bear cubs can swim, but not like adults. Their smaller bodies lose heat far faster in water that is nearly freezing. The larger cub kept pace, stronger, already more resilient, but the smaller one, Beta, was falling behind. She turned back for the smaller one. She always turned back. The swim lasted 60 kilometers, days in the freezing water. When they finally reached solid ice, all 3 were exhausted beyond any word for it. The mother did not rest. She moved over the smaller cub, draping her body like a shield against the Arctic wind. For 3 days she hunted in circles, finding nothing. The seals had moved. The ice had changed. The world did not care. She was burning reserves she did not have, and Beta was growing quieter, smaller somehow than before. She nudged him. She groomed him. She pushed her warmth into his small body in every way she knew how. But love, as powerful as it is, cannot stop the cold. It cannot make the ice return. It cannot rewrite biology. On the 9th day after the long swim, Beta did not wake. The mother circled, again and again, nudging, calling, a sound researchers have described as unlike anything else they have ever heard in the wild. Polar bears grieve. Science is beginning to understand this. They stay, they wait, they refuse for a time to accept what the world has done. She stayed for 2 days. The temperature dropped to -30. She did not move far. The larger cub, Alpha, stayed too. He did not understand, but he did not leave her. There is no protocol for grief in the wild. There is no timetable. There is only the body knowing what the mind cannot yet say. She could not save him, and yet she had done everything, every single thing a mother could do. And that is the hardest truth of love. It does not guarantee outcomes. It only guarantees presence. On the 3rd day, she rose, not because she was ready, but because Alpha needed her to. Grief does not end, but for an animal built to survive, it transforms. It becomes fuel. It becomes fierce protection. She hunted with a ferocity she had not shown before, as if every movement now carried the weight of 2. She caught a ringed seal within the hour, and she let Alpha eat first. She watched him eat, and in her stillness, something passed through her expression that no camera could fully capture, but all of us would recognize. She was not whole. She would not be whole again, but she was present, and presence for a mother is everything. Summer came. The ice retreated further, but she adapted, as polar bears have always adapted, at the very edge of what is possible. By autumn, Alpha was twice the size he had been in spring, strong, alert, his mother's living proof. She had carried grief and love at the same time. Scientists tell us this should not be possible, that the weight should break a creature, but she carried both. Grief in the wild is not weakness, it is the measure of what was loved. The world that took Beta was the same world that sustained Alpha. She lived inside that contradiction, and she did not break. Late October, the sea began to freeze again. The ice returned, thinner than before, but enough for now. She led Alpha onto the new ice, tested each step, checked that it would hold. The same thing she had always done, the same thing she would always do. In the science of loss, they say grief has stages. On the Svalbard ice, there is only one stage, and its name is love continuing. The Arctic is the world's most sensitive thermometer. What happens here will happen everywhere eventually. But right now, on this ice, in this light, a mother and her son are alive, together, moving forward. She will not remember Beta the way we use that word, but her body remembers. Every careful step she takes with Alpha carries that memory forward. This is what grief looks like when it has been transformed by love. This is what survival looks like when it refuses to forget. Love has no species.